Here now, Victor Davis Hanson, Senior Fellow at the Hoover Institute. Victor, always love talking to you. These things happen for a reason. Why are we seeing what we're seeing in this particular instance with train cars, but it tells a larger story?
Well, we're going back to the 1880s, Old West train robberies, and we're going back to 1970s crime, as we saw in New York, or 1980s inflation, or foreign policy in the mid-70s when we left Vietnam. I think what academics, I don't want to quote them, but they call this systems collapse, where all of a sudden a successful society suddenly doesn't follow its tradition and rules, and things happen that people cannot believe, such as empty shelves, or you're not able to buy meat, or you go to fill up your car and it's $100 for just 18 gallons, or people getting shot in the street, or people outright racist ideology being taught in the schools. And all of these things start to unwind a society, so the point is that it can't continue. When you look at those train tracks and that trash, you say, this is not a third world country. But it is, just like Market Street in San Francisco, just like the subway in New York, just like the school system in Virginia. So it's all unwinding. I think, finally, Pete, we really have to redefine this whole woke ideology. We think it's kind of cute, or it's incompetent, or it's left-wing, or it's Marxist. It's cruel. It's mean. It tells you, me, every citizen, if you get hurt, you get shot, we're not going to worry about you. And the person who did that to you is probably going to be out without on bail or not prosecuted for an earlier crime. It tells a young child, you in the present are going to learn good racism because there were bad racism in the past. It tells the old guy that's 68 like me, if you need treatment, you may be the wrong color, you wait in line. This is a regression. It's a very evil ideology because it's cruel. It's mean-spirited, and we haven't talked about that, but that's what it is. And it won't end if people start identifying it like that. It's a stupid, mean-spirited ideology. It's anti-humanistic. And
what a great way to put it, cruelty.
Because it has a history throughout the centuries, and it doesn't end well.
Well, you study this, and you understand how systems collapse. What is the crucial moment? What is the crucial point? What leads to the beginning of something like what we're seeing?
I think it's when the law is asymmetrically applied or not applied at all. When you see somebody walk out of a store with a bag of goods and does not pay and nobody says anything, or you see somebody just go to a car and steal it and you know nothing's going to happen, or you see something like Waukesha or the hostage taking in Texas and the media won't cover it, or you see crimes that won't be reported for political reasons. And when the system can't react, and then the person in the middle, the citizen, says, I don't believe anymore. When you look at the CIA, the FBI, the IRS, the DOJ, the Pentagon, these were once esteemed, maybe not the IRS, but they were once esteemed agencies. People have no confidence in them anymore, and that's what starts to unwind. When you look at what the career of a Fauci, a Milley, a Clapper, a Comey, a McCabe, people said, these aren't the people that we trust. We used to love the government, now we fear the government. And so the government's lost credibility, morality, and we've got to restore it by all of these DAs have to prosecute crimes. You have to be arrested, you have to be indicted. If you're guilty, you have to serve your time to regain confidence and make it safe to be a human again. We're not humans anymore. We're just, I don't know, we're just tinker toys in some grand woke game of utopia. And all these people who craft these ideas are never subject to the consequences of their ideology. Yes. They're Nancy Pelosi behind walls up in Napa, or there are people on the Upper West Side, or there are people like Mark Zuckerberg and his Hawaiian estate, but they're never subject. And if they were subject, they would stop very quickly, I hope. But we've got to restore
it's a great point.
Tradition, custom. Yeah.
You're right. Victor Davis Hanson, you're talking about the politicization of justice. And when it isn't equally applied,
absolutely,
everything else falls apart. By the way, if you agree and like what Victor Davis Hanson has to say here, he is prominently featured in my new Fox Nation series, Miseducation of America. We flew all the way out to his almond farm in California to interview him, sit down and pick his brain about how Americans were educated back when we actually educated liberated citizens. Victor, thanks for taking part in that project. Our folks can watch it on Fox Nation, and thanks for being with us tonight. Really, really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Pete.